Welcome to season 6 of Outstanding Women Leaders, Witty and Wise Conversations. I'm your host, Katie Eads, founder and chief owl at Outstanding Women Leaders Professional Coaching and Podcast, an organization dedicated to empowering women in leadership, relationships, and life. Owl is on a mission to host 100 million witty and wise conversations that inspire you, disrupt the way you think, and stir your soul into aligned action. That inspiration begins with 4 rules today. No, rule number 1, nobody gets to be wrong. Rule number 2, nobody gets to be right. Rule number 3, everybody gets to be vulnerable. And my favorite rule, everything is included. We do not edit here. This conversation is exactly what it needs to be in this moment in time. We've asked our guests to join us via video to allow us to create authentic connection. Eyes are the window to the soul. You'll be seen here. You'll be heard. There's space for you. When this conversation comes to a close, I will ask our guests 3 questions. If you've tuned in before, you know what they are. And if you haven't, you don't want to miss them. But enough about me. Today, I'm excited to welcome Outstanding Women Leader, Taylor DeMario Lavin. She's a business owner, a real estate team leader, and the reigning Mrs. Tennessee America, currently preparing to compete for Mrs. America. She is the founder of BoldHER Truth, a growing movement dedicated to empowering women to share their stories with authenticity and courage. After navigating personal challenges, including infertility, multiple pregnancy losses, and health struggles, Taylor turned her pain into purpose, creating a platform that reminds women their hardships do not define them, they refine them. Through her work, she is building a powerful community rooted in truth, resilience, and connection. Welcome, Taylor.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today, Katie.
Yes,
I'm excited.
truth, resilience, and connection is a pretty amazing platform. As a professional truth teller, I'm also dedicated to the truth. Take us back to the truth of like, how do you get into Mrs. America pageants? You were a Miss Delaware before as well. Tell us a little bit about your story and also how you become an entrepreneur. Like, you've done so many things.
I grew up in New York and I've always wanted to be an actress. That was my childhood dream. So I did dabble in it a little bit as a child. I was in a few commercials and things like that. And when I went to college at the University of Delaware, it was further away from New York City, further away from those opportunities. And I actually saw an ad online about competing for Miss Delaware and that it would be they kind of hosted it like a modeling opportunity, and I was like, this is interesting. So that's the original reason that I got into it. And the first pageant I ever did, I completely bombed it, like did not do very well at all. I won an interview award, so that was, I mean, I think that was great success just for getting into this at knowing nothing. And that was in 2012. And I got the pageant bug, so they call it, because the community that's involved in pageantry is very small and tight-knit, and it's almost like a self-improvement thing. It pushes you to get involved in community service and make yourself better and constantly just work towards something more. So from there, I competed again and I won Miss Delaware United States, and then competed again and I won Miss Delaware World, went to Miss World America, placed top 12, and found myself in Tennessee out of nowhere. Came down here, loved it, decided to move, and took a little hiatus from pageantry for 10 years until I looked back and I remembered what confidence pageants gave me back then. And I felt like I had lost that over the last 10 years. I went through breast implant illness. I have been battling 10 years of infertility, multiple miscarriages, loss, and different things. And when I reflected back, I realized we had been through so much, and I felt like I had lost a sense of my identity and self. And pageants were part of that identity of self-improvement and being involved and pushing further. So that's why I competed for Mrs. Tennessee, and thankfully I won. And so now I'm going to Mrs. America.
Yes. And what I love about your story that's so inspiring to me is that you just kind of looked back and remembered, like, who was I when I really felt good? Like, who, and sometimes we forget that we don't need to be somebody new and continue to reinvent the wheel every single time. Sometimes it's nice to go back home, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that experience and like how it really supported you on your healing journey.
So I think when you're going through hardships and adversity, a lot of the time you do lose your identity and lose your sense of self. in the thing that you might be going through. And for me, it was primarily infertility, questioning who I'm supposed to be, who I want to be, realizing that society says I'm supposed to get married, be a mom quickly, this, and that. And now I'm married for 10 years and I'm childless. And it made me really think about, okay, who am I though at the core? And getting back into pageantry reminded me of who I am at the core, right? Like I am a person that loves to help other people, and using pageants to do that has helped amplify my impact and amplify my reach to other women. And then, you start kind of doing that, and then you have women reach out to you and thanking you for helping them just because you shared some of the things that you've gone through. And it's just like a little spark that ignites you, that is like, wow, okay, this is my purpose. This is what I was supposed to do.
Mm. And did you just wake up one day and you're like, "Ah, I should do pageants again, or was there some sort of, how do you find your way back? Because sometimes when we're in that identity space, like the liminal space, it's hard to even see a future.
Mhm. I was there in that moment that you just discussed for years. And the best way I could describe it to other people is like I felt like a robot. I didn't even really know who I was or what I was doing. I was just like a bag floating in the wind. And it took me realizing that I needed to ask for help and hitting rock bottom before realizing, okay, I need to go to therapy and I need someone to talk to and I need to work on figuring out the emotions that I'm going through. And it was actually my therapist's idea to pursue pageantry again. And she gave me the confidence to, because I told her when she first mentioned it, I was like, mm-mm, like, there's no way, like, I'm not ready. And she was like, why not? Why are you telling yourself that you can't do this? And that's what it took for me to be like, you know what, you're right. I need to just pursue this and see where it takes me. And now when I look back, I'm like, wow, it was so impactful by just me being open to asking for help, which is something I would have never done before.
Hmm. Yeah, your profile that we talked about in the bonus episode is for invitations. Like you are just a standing invitation for women to feel a little bit bolder, to share a little bit more of their truth. And it is hard to ask for help particularly when you're the leader and you're the one that's doing all the helping. And I imagine that people on the outside, like you're a successful entrepreneur, people probably didn't know necessarily what you were going through.
I was afraid to tell people what I was going through. Also, being in real estate, a lot of the real estate career revolves around eating, breathing, living real estate. So I was scared to show vulnerability in that maybe somebody wouldn't hire me because they thought I couldn't handle it, couldn't handle their business because my life was crumbling down or something of that nature. That's what I told myself. And so for a long time, I felt like I had to hide it and act like I was fine and act like I was this like perfect person when none of us are perfect and all of us go through things. And I thought that it would adversely affect my business, but I've realized that as I've opened up and been more and more vulnerable as time goes on, people welcome it and they reward it. And I had nothing to be afraid of all those years.
Now you have this great platform, and I just want you to know I am cheering super hard for you to win Mrs. America just because I want to have a friend in my circle that was Mrs. America. But Mrs. Tennessee is pretty awesome as well. I'll take that. Um, what is tell us a little bit about like the competing part and like how is that I owned a CrossFit gym. I get competing and but you also get community in that same space. Like as an athlete, I really see kind of what you're doing because I know nothing about your world, but to me it feels very similar to when you're an athlete in college and you have this. That's why people liked CrossFit. They missed their old athletics from college as well.
It's so true. And, I stay in touch with women that I competed against. I do quotations because you're really just competing against yourself, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And the women that are there with you, we're all just doing it to be better. And so I still talk to women that I competed with 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And it becomes a tight-knit community. And a big reason that why I do it is to put myself in a room of women that are doing big things, that are making themselves better, are making their communities better and impacting their communities and doing amazing things, which you don't really get necessarily in the normal world all the time, you know? And so a big portion of Mrs. America, which is why I resonate with this particular system in general so much. So most of your scoring is personal one-on-one interview. So we sit down with a judge one-on-one. I think there's 5 or 6 judges, and they interview us one-on-one for about 3 minutes, 3, 4 minutes. And during that interview, they ask you questions about what you're doing throughout your year. So it's not just surface questions. It's true nitty-gritty questions about who you are at your core, what impact you're making, what legacy you want to leave, and you can't fake that. That's all the things that you've been doing throughout the year. And that's why I love it so much is you get to present all of the hard work that you've been doing throughout the year in that moment. And then after that, after you compete in the interview process, you do evening gown and swimsuit, which is just it's just fun. Like I love getting dressed up. I love feeling beautiful. I think it's really important for women to feel beautiful. I think it's empowering for a woman to feel beautiful. So I welcome swimsuit and evening gown, and I actually love it.
Mm. I like that you use the phrase competed with because that was very much the CrossFit community as
Mhm.
well, right? And that was the difference that I saw in CrossFit that you wouldn't see in a regular gym was that the last person that's finishing their workout, that first person from that finished the workout might come and even do the reps with you, right? You're high-fiving. It really is that sense of community. And intuitive by nature, Bonnie Kasamasima, who was on the podcast also in Knoxville, she's created a community around intuition. Like what you're really doing is building that community. And not everyone likes to compete. Funny enough, I was a college athlete. Like I don't actually enjoy competing. And I think it's because I know that I am so driven. I have that I mentioned in the podcast, I have that alpha gene that you have. Like I'm driven to be the leader, that like I don't want to be a loser.
Mhm.
And that, but it also makes sense why I enjoy influencing leaders. Like I truly am, like I wanted to be the Phil Jackson of executive coaching and leadership coaching. And that's really where I see myself shine. Phil Jackson played basketball in college. He just didn't play in the NBA. Like I've been a leader in some great stages. And I loved what you said about getting access to women doing big things. That's why I love coaching in corporate. I
Mhm.
love working with and getting to be working with people and just surrounding a community. I think that's why I'm excited about us teaming up together as well. And why I'm rooting for you for Mrs. America is that there's so many women that you are going to get to support who need to be surrounded by more women that are doing big things. And you're just going to be another network for women to tap into so that part of playing big is being around people that want you to play big on your own terms, and that authenticity and that truth that you're bringing is just such a breath of fresh air.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think sometimes too, it's all it takes is just one conversation to help somebody else and just make them realize their purpose too. And that's what I love about it also, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. One session was all it takes, is what I said when I had the gym. I still say that now with Al
Mhm.
Professional Coaching. And it doesn't mean I'll have to see you again. It's all it takes to spark you into something new. As we wrap up, I have 3 questions I ask all of our guests.
Okay.
Question one, what is your superpower?
Mm. So my superpower is my story and
Hmm.
not being afraid to share that story. For a long time, I talked about it a little bit ago. For a long time, I thought I had to hide it and pretend like I was this something I wasn't. And it wasn't until I realized that sharing the story is what my superpower is what gave me the confidence to just keep pushing forward.
What's your purpose?
Mm. Helping women realize who they want to be and what their identity is, is at their core. After going through that myself, you sometimes realize that you're trying to build an identity that isn't really true to yourself. And so the one thing that I hope that women get out of speaking with me or anything that I'm doing is just that they can find their identity and they can live true to it and not be afraid of it.
My favorite question on here. What's next for you after you win Mrs. America?
Whether or not I win Mrs. America, I want to make that clear because I'm not doing this for the pageant. I'm doing this because been an epiphany for me almost. Like when I realized what I'm doing truly impacts. Not it's healing for me as much as it's healing for somebody else. So I hope to win Mrs. America and take it to the Mrs. World stage because that's where it goes next, is you get to compete against all the different countries. But my hope for BoldHER Truth and my platform is to keep touching women, build the community as large as possible, but as genuine as possible. So I'm trying to scale this community in a manner that is full of authentic women that truly, truly want the best for each other. And I think that takes time. So hopefully we can grab as many women that genuinely want to be better. And so we can help each other out and support each other fully to our best potential.
I look forward to being a part of what's next then and helping you do that. And I always give our guests the last word, whatever message you'd like to leave with the audience.
Well, Katie, I really appreciate you having me on here. Like I said earlier, I have such a connection to you, and I really appreciate everything that you do and just the person that you are. And it inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing also and tapping into women's intuitions and living authentically and true to yourself, I think is all a part of that. So if one thing I want women to take away from just our podcast today is that find who you are and find who you want to be, and don't be afraid to show it. Don't let the world change who you are, and just keep living true to yourself, and all of the great things will come after that.